The world is sinking, but Africa is rising. It's time for Africa to turn the tide of political conflict, economic uncertainty, and moral decadence. The time is now for Africa to arise and rebuild. Inspire E-Conference 2023 will give you the tools and strategies to be part of Africa's rebuild. Join us online this August from Monday the 7th to Saturday the 12th from 7 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. East African time as we gather the brightest minds across the continent to discuss the rebuilding of Africa. Book your slot today and be part of the movement that will change Africa forever. Africa, arise and build.
Warm greetings from the Pearl of Africa. It's warm here in the Pearl of Africa. I'm hearing it's cold in South Africa, so we send some warmth from Uganda to you. So I have the privilege and honor to introduce our first speaker for today. Our keynote speaker is none other than Joel Aita. Joel Aita is a distinguished civil engineering professional, serving as the Chief Executive Officer and Chairman of the Board of the Directors of Joada Consult. This is a leading regional provider of technical and management support services. Under his visionary leadership, Joada Consult has gained prominence and recognition, ranking as the top mid-sized company in Uganda by KPMG. Joel's expertise spans various monumental projects, from a $250 million Namambe Industrial Park infrastructure to a $1 billion Nile ecosystem master plan. Demonstrating his prowess in this project and coordination, he has design skills, construction supervision skills, and a lot more. With an impressive portfolio, Joel has successfully overseen significant initiatives such as the Mulago Rehabilitation Project, the Arua Hill Stadium and Business Park, and the Arua Market Construction Project, to name but a few. His commitment to enhancing infrastructure across the Great Lakes region is evident through his leadership roles in various high-profile projects, contributing to the economic development and sustainable growth. Joel, his exceptional ability to manage diverse teams and navigate complex projects showcase his dedication to advancing the engineering and construction endeavors in the Pearl of Africa and beyond. Joel, we're excited that you are able to make time to speak to us this evening during this Inspire conference, and we're looking forward to hearing you talk to us on the topic investment options that we can consider, mobilizing sustainable finance and capital to invest and transform Africa. The floor is yours, Joel.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very glad to be with you guys in Inspire Africa, Arise and Build. I think there is a wave going across Africa, which wave is in a very positive way. May it continue and may it sweep across from the south to the north, from west to the east, so that Africa must arise and build. Yeah, we have been given a very interesting topic, mobilizing sustainable finance and capital to invest and transform Africa. Capital to build your own house, capital to build a mini factory, capital to build a school, capital to build a hotel, whatever you need capital. Many of our youth, many of our people, they will say, I have this idea, but I lack the capital. It is always down to capital. So what are the sustainable ways through which you can be able to raise this capital or raise this financing? So that is the topic for today. I have, in the next 40 minutes, I'm going to be taking you through some interesting ideas, which I believe could become very sustainable for investments by raising capital. This interesting idea is totally different from our known ways of raising finance and capital. The known ways of raising finance and capital is more through the banks. But I'm sure you will agree with me that many times the banks speak a lot of English. They speak a lot of English. You go there, everyone is speaking. You sign here, sign there, sign here. By the time you are on your 20th day, you've given up. You've run away because they're now asking you for security, which security you may not have. So many times, many of our people, they really find it very difficult to raise finance and capital in Africa. Even though you manage to raise the money from the bank, you'll find many times the interest rate is 25%, 30%. In some countries, it is even more than 35%. To be sincere, you're charging me 30%, even 25%. That is my profit. So as a result, it becomes very difficult for many people to mobilize financing or capital in Africa to develop and transform Africa. But today we'll look at something else. And you'll allow me to share the screen. I hope we are able to see the screen. Lillian, are you able to see the screen?
Yes, we're able to see the screen.
Okay,
yes,
perfect.
thank you for
So
putting it on
today
screen.
we're going to talk about something called the stone soup model. Maybe before we talk about that a little bit, I will say something a little bit about myself. I am currently the chairman for the council of Moni University. It's a university based in Arua. It's a university owned by government. I also chair a football club called Arua Hill Sports Club. It is a football club based in West Nile, but it's in the Uganda Premier League. Last season, we actually finished top 4 in our second year in the Premier League. We are called giant killers. We like hitting the big boys in town here, especially when they go to play in Arua. They normally don't survive us. We want to continue with that this season. I also chair another company called Development Infrastructure. Here we do mostly construction. And newly formed a company called Jawada Design Institute. And our main mother company is called Jawada Consult. Jawada Consult is an infrastructure consultancy company we set up in 2007, and we do infrastructure consulting across sub-Saharan Africa. We are now currently in 7 countries, and hopefully by next year we'll be in 10 countries doing large-scale infrastructure projects. Yeah, so that is my little family, 5 kids and my wife, 2 boys and 3 girls. That is one of the projects we have completed. That is the specialized maternal and neonatal hospital in Mulago. We just completed 5 universities in Malawi, funded by African Development Bank. These are some road projects we've done across the region. We are doing currently a project in Mozambique. It's a housing project on 400 acres in Maputo. We've done Yumbe and Kayunga Hospital. Those are completed projects. That is Yumbe Hospital. That is the general ward. That's in the private ward. That's the general ward. And we've done Arua Market. It's a 4,000 seater market. And that is also inside some of the hospitals we have completed. Those are some of the key dignitaries who have met. Now, I know men don't like to cook, but today we're going to talk about stone soup. How are we going to cook stone soup? I'm sure somebody is asking, stone soup, what is that? So today we're going to teach men and women how to cook stone soup. And by the time we're done with the recipe, everyone here is going to be full. So get ready with your pens and understand how we are going to cook this stone soup. Now, this stone soup is about a story of a wise old man who one day decided to go on a journey. So he packed his small bag, said goodbye to his wife, and set off. He traveled all day without meeting anyone. When it was evening, he came to a small village. I think I'll stop here for the night, he said to himself. Near the center of the village, he met a group of people. So he introduced himself. I am a simple traveler, he said, looking for a safe place to sleep and a hot meal. We'd be glad to offer you a place to sleep, the villagers told him. But we have very little food. Our crops were very poor this year, and there is not much to eat in the whole village. Most of us are just barely getting by. I'm sorry to hear that, the old man said. So he said, don't worry about feeding me. I already have everything I need. In fact, I was thinking of making stone soup to share with all of you. Stone soup? The villagers asked. What is that? We've never heard of stone soup. Oh, it's wonderful, said the old man. Best soup ever tasted. If you bring me a soup pot and some water, I'll make some for all of us. And so the villagers rushed back to their homes. When they returned, one was carrying a large soup pot, another had wood for a fire, and others brought water. When the fire was going and the water had begun to boil, the old man took out a small silk pouch. With a great ceremony, he reached in and pulled out a smooth, round stone. He carefully dropped the stone into the boiling water. While the villagers watched eagerly, the old man began to slowly stir the pot, sniffing the aroma and licking his lips in anticipation. I do like a tasty stone soup, he said. Of course, stone soup with cabbage? Now that's really special. I might be able to find a bit of cabbage, one villager said. And off she went to her house, returning with a small cabbage she had stored away in her pantry. Wonderful, said the old man, as he added the cabbage to the pot. This reminds me of the time I had stone soup with cabbage and a bit of salted beef. It was unbelievably good. The village butcher spoke up. I know where there is a bit of salted beef, he said, and off he went to his shop to get it. When he returned, the old man added the beef to the soup pot and continued to stir. Can you imagine what this soup would taste like if we had a bit of onion and perhaps a few potatoes and a carrot or two and some mushrooms? Oh, this will be a meal fit for royalty. And before he knew it, the soup pot was filled to the brim with cabbages, vegetables of all kinds, carrots, potatoes, mushrooms, and onions, turnips and green beans, beets and celery, all brought by the men and women and the children of the village. Not only that, but the village baker came out with some fresh bread and butter. And as the soup simmered slowly over the fire, the wonderful aroma began to waft over the villagers. And they began to relax and talk together, sharing songs and stories and jokes. When the soup was finally done, the old man ladled it out into bowls, and they all shared a delicious meal together. There was more than enough for everyone to eat their fill. Afterward, they all declared that it was the best soup they had ever tasted. The mayor of the village pulled the old man aside and quietly offered him a great deal of money for the magic stone, but the old man refused to sell it. The next morning, he woke early and packed up his belongings. As he was leaving the village, he passed by a group of children playing at the side of the road. He handed the youngest one of the silk pouch containing the stone, and he whispered, it was not the stone that performed the magic. It was all of us together. It was not the stone that performed the magic. It was all of us together. Now, we're done with the stone soup. I hope you have tasted it. Now, these village people, they were sleeping hungry. They didn't have food. But this old man came with his magic, with his style, and managed to mobilize resources. Some children brought onions, some brought firewood, others brought matchbox, one brought a huge stone pot, another brought, everyone was bringing something small, and it was entering. And at the end of it all, it ended up making a huge soup, which the villagers confessed was the most delicious they had ever tasted. Now, that is the power of stone soup. That is the power of the community coming together, putting money to invest. You may put very small money, but you will be part of a bigger project. You may put very, very small, but you will be part of a bigger project. Now, there is a project we have done. We're calling it the Stone Soup Project. And I'm going to play, first of all, the design, and I will later on play what we now have on ground. Now, what you see here in front of you is a design of what we call a Ruhr Hill Sports and Business Park. Once it is done, it's going to be a 20,000-seater stadium designed according to the CAF specifications, meaning it can be able to host any international game. And it has 150 shops and showrooms. It has 3 hotels. It has 1 hospital. It has 30 apartments. And it has 3 bars. And it has a nightclub. It has a stadium. I mean, it has a supermarket and all that. So what you're seeing here, first, these are 30 apartments. These apartments are 3 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, and 1 bedroom. And they are soundproof because behind is the stadium. And the idea is you can sit in your sitting room and open the windows and watch the match. If you don't want to watch, you close it. No noise will disturb you. And then the next one is a hotel, but on the ground floor is a gold refinery. Because we're next to Congo, we needed to have a gold refinery. And then here we have the banks and another hotel on the last floor, a budget hotel on the last floor. And then we created a green park where people can be able to sit and relax. So the green park, our idea is just people will be able to sit here and relax as they're doing nothing. Or they can chat, or they can have their meetings and whatever. So that is the green park. And across it, we have the golf course, the West Nile Golf Course. And along here, what you see is the Kampala Road, or we call it Pakwach Road. And these are the shops, the 150 shops in the facility. And what you're seeing above on the last floor there, we have a nightclub. It's going to be the biggest nightclub in West Nile. And that is the entrance, the main entrance to the stadium. Altogether, there are 4 entrances to the stadium. And then under this blue glass, we have a supermarket. And we have another bigger hotel here, but we have changed this hotel into a 60-bed hospital. So this hotel has been changed into a 60-bed hospital. And inside is now our stadium. So the project is now around 70% done. By the time it will be completed, it will cost around 70 billion Ugandan shillings. But you'll be very surprised to hear that zero bank loan has been picked in this project. Zero bank loan. Now, what did we do? Our interest in this project was to build a stadium. But the land was very, very prime. And then secondly, we looked at a stadium like Nambole. We said Nambole is a dead stadium. What happens when there's no football? Nothing happens. So we said, okay, how about, since our land is very prime within town, how about we have our stadium and then we have businesses around it? When there's no football, businesses are going on. When there's football, businesses are going on. So we now came up with this design. However, we realized we could not get all the revenue ourselves. We could not mobilize all the money we needed to mobilize. So we said, okay, how about we go to the bank? So I went with my design, with the videos, we went, presented to the bank. Just as usual, the bank was speaking a lot of English for us. A lot of English. So we said, but now this one here, we're not gonna go far. So we decided to say, okay, our main aim here is the stadium. What if we sell off 50% of these businesses? We realized we'll be able to raise 100% of the money we need to do the whole project. So we said, okay, what if we sold now 30% because we could mobilize the remaining of the money? If we sold 30% of the businesses, we'll raise 60% of the money we need for the project. So we'll just be able to mobilize only 40%. So immediately, when we did that calculation, we said, okay, let's float this thing up. Little did I know, so people were interested in this land. So when they heard that the municipal had given us a 49-year lease, these guys went up in arms. They started making a lot of noise. For me, I like such noise because we need to sell 30% of these businesses to people. How are people going to know about this project if there is no noise? One option will be I'll have to go to the radio station. The radio station is going to charge me 2 million for a 1-hour talk show to talk to people about it. Or I have to advertise in the newspaper. It will be very expensive. So when these people started making noise, I said, okay, we're gonna drive on this noise. So radio stations started coming for us. TV stations started coming for us because now there was some noise. So this time they're now calling us for free. We will go to the radio station for free, 2-hour talk show for free. And the first time we reached the radio station, I was alone. These guys came 6 people. So I told the panelists, the moderator, there are 2 groups here, the proposer, who has come only 1 person, and then the opposers, they have come 6, and they're 2 hours. So moderator, I want my 1 hour, and the 6 people can have their 1 hour. They tried to oppose it, but moderator ruled, say he's right. There are 2 groups here. So it's only fair to give them equally. So I had my 1 full hour to talk on the radio. I will explain to people how they can actually own a shop in this facility, how they can actually own an apartment in this facility, how they can actually buy a bank in this facility. But then I decided to zero on the smallest space somewhere at the end of this main road here, where the shops are. This was just a very, very small space, which initially was kept for keeping cleaning equipment. But we had 3 of them. So we decided to say, let's sell 1. Now, this small space was just 4 square meters. And we were selling it at 9 million, meaning at 9 million, you will be able to own that shop. But I now went a little bit deeper, explaining that this 9 million, we're going to give you 3 years to pay. That means you will be paying 3 million per month, per year. 3 million per year. Then I broke down these 3 million, which you're going to pay per year, to per month. So I removed the December and the January, which are very bad months. So we're left with 10 months. So 3 million divided by 10 came to 300,000. So now, when you talk about 300,000, you are increasing the number of people who can afford. But I went further and said this 300,000, if you divide by 30 days of the month, it will be 10,000 per day. Now, there people started making phone calls. Because now, so many of them now could relate that I think I can afford 10,000 per day. So eventually we finished the talk show. So many people understood how this project is going to run. They understood that they can actually own something in that facility by just paying 10,000 shillings per day. So I left the radio station after the end of the talk show. I came back to the site. A boda guy was waiting for me with 10,000 shillings. He said, where's the shop of 10,000 shillings? That is the one I want. For him, he didn't want to hear about your 9 million. 9 million, he cannot afford. But 10,000, yes, that one he can afford. This guy was my most, up to now, he's the best client for us. He actually finished within 3 years. He had finished making his payment. And immediately when he pulled his 10 million, I picked it up and we registered him for that shop. But we told him, you keep this money, don't come every day. Drop this money in your box for 30 days. And then this is the bank account. You go and put it in the bank. Immediately, so many other people came. We will be in office up to 10 at night. People coming to book. Now, those ones, we will charge them. You pay 20%, and then the 80% will give you 3 years to pay. Within 2 months, we had sold off all the 30% of the shops we wanted to sell to locals, to local people in Arua. Not even the who and who's of Arua, the local people, because they now understood that they can actually be able to be part of these by paying money in little bits. So COVID came in, but it affected us a little bit. We're now around 70%. But when you go to Arua, this is part of the project you'll be able to see. This is where majority of the people had bought their space. So we made sure we concentrated mostly there so that we can hand them over quickly and they start making their money. When you see behind there, those are the apartments. We are now at the roofing stage. Those are the apartments at the roofing stage. The hotel, which we want to convert to a hospital, we still have one more floor. Is that one you can be able to see there? And then the rest, this part where the banks are, where the gold refinery hotel is, those parts we're now roofed them. So generally, we're now around 70%. And once we're done with the frame, the buildings, we now go inside to be done with the stadium. So that is what you're seeing. And I always like to say that this is the most biggest infrastructure north of Kawempe. You go from north of Kawempe up to all the parts of in northern Uganda, you will find this as the biggest infrastructure being built there with zero bank loan and owned by the indigenous people, 99% indigenous people. And for me, I like it because no bank loan, indigenous people, not people who are coming from somewhere maybe with a lot of money, not even the indigenous people with a lot of money, no. The people we got were just basic people you not even know in Arua city. Now, that is how Stone Soup has been able to build this. And with the Stone Soup, some people own like this gate you see in front of, behind the truck. This gate you see behind the truck. That room there, it's quite a very large room. I think the lady bought it over 300 million. It's owned by a lady. Interestingly, over 50% of the facilities here were actually owned by ladies. It was the ladies who bought them. So that particular one, that gate, that door you see behind the truck, behind the trailer, that one is the biggest shop on the ground floor here, owned by a lady. So that is what Stone Soup can be able to do. This front part you see, this L you're seeing here, we are targeting within the next 2 months to hand it over, especially to the owners. 60% of the facilities here are owned by the people, this front part. Ours are mostly behind the part, but we have some few facilities also in front here. So in the next 2 months, we want to hand them over because we still have close to around 4 billion for the people to pay us. And this 4 billion, we will now be able to put it behind to finish also the behind part. Now, with this project, a lot of interest has come on board. All the cities of Uganda, they have visited this project because each time they go to Minister of Local Government, Minister of Local Government tells them, go and see the Arua model. They now call it the Arua model. Go and see the Arua model. So Gulu has visited us, Mbarara has visited us, Hoima has visited us, Jinja has visited us, Mbale has visited us, Soroti has visited us, Kabale, our recent one, they came from Kabale, a delegation of over 40 people. They visited us from Kabale. So all these, they have come. They want to come and learn the Stone Soup model, how they can use it to build. It can be used to build a business park like this. It can be used to build a hotel. It can be, you can put up a 200-bed hotel and you sell the rooms to individual people. It can be used to put up a small-scale factory or industrial park where people use Stone Soup to be able to build it. It can be able to used for housing, where you can be able to build, put up estates, where you can be able to put up estates. So that is how Stone Soup can be used to mobilize. But the most important thing is trust. You must have trust in place. 2, you must be able to have a plan, a master plan, which people are able to see and say, okay, this is how the project is going to look like. Now with that, you'll be able to mobilize a lot of resources. Our first 1 month, we mobilized close to around 5 billion. First 2 months, we were able to mobilize close to around 5 billion to be able to put in this project. That is the 20%. And to be able to get this money from local people, it is really so amazing that people can come using a Stone Soup and contribute for a massive project like this. Now, without government actually borrowing any single coin, this could be stadiums set up across the country. We could be able to set up 10 stadiums like this across the country. It may not be us alone. You guys here can be able to mobilize and say, oh, for me, I come from Kabale. Why don't I do the one of Kabale? Another one will say, I come from Hoima. Why don't I come from Hoima? Now, us as a company, we cannot be everywhere, but we will definitely be glad to give our expertise or even partner with somebody who wants to start it from where they're coming from. But as I said, trust and social capital is one of the most important things. Because I remember when people were coming to make their first payments, they will come to our secretary and say, oh, is Aita here? When the secretary says Aita is not there, the man picks his kavera and goes back with his money. Then when he is there, when I'm there, they lead him to the room. The man pulls notes, bundles of notes in front of you, 50 million. This is my money. Then you start counting until we even ended up buying a machine, money counting machine, because they even didn't want to go and deposit this money in the bank because they wanted to give it to Aita. So trust and social capital is one of the most important things to make this kind of project work. So that is the Stone Soup model for Arua. That's how it looks like. Now, there are a lot of slave queens who like taking photos. I see a lot of photos in front of this project everywhere on social media and all that. I don't know how it will be when it is done. Maybe I will start charging some Slay Queen tax. I don't know whether we'll call it that way. There will be some little bit of tax we'll charge on people who want to come and take photos here. That is how it looks as you enter Arua town. I always tell people, if you go to Arua and you have not seen this project, then you didn't reach Arua. Maybe you stopped somewhere in Bondo and came back. But this is one project anyone who has entered Arua will definitely have to see first as they're entering in the city. As I said again, we use the stone soup model. We never went to the bank. We never went to an investment company or what do you call them? They have a lot of names, but they speak a lot of English, as I said. And so I will say it again. It was not the stone that performed the magic. It is not Joel who performed the magic, but it was all of us together. The boda, the teacher, the lawyer, the professor, the businessman, who all came together. There are around 100 of them who came together to put the 30%. I think as of now, we even went up to around 40%. We sold around 40%. Along the way, we kept on. You find somebody comes and said, I missed, I want. So we get some and we sell it for them. So it was all of us together. I really think within the next 1 year, we should be done with the project. And it is going to be a very amazing project. And this can be copied all around. We don't have any, what do you call it? We have not put a restriction to that model because we want it to transform Africa. So if you want us to give our expertise, we are very glad. If you want us to partner, we're very glad in your own town. Now, as I complete, we have been doing a lot of designs for the different cities who have shown interest. And one of the designs we've done is for Gulu City. The leadership there came and they wanted a design also like that for a stadium and business park. So the one I'm playing here is the Gulu City. And So that is the Gulu project, and on 26th of this month, I'm going to be having a presentation for a group organized by the Rotary Club of Gulu, and we'll be also talking about this project. If they're interested, that is one project which can be able to come in Gulu there. So, like I said, with that stone soup model, you can be able to roll it across Uganda, and we put these massive infrastructure projects without necessarily going to the bank and picking a bank loan. No, that one we have not done it for this particular project of Arua. And we really think this model can be adopted for anything. Anything. You can put up a hotel, 200-bed 5-star hotel, and you sell 150 rooms to people, and people will buy these rooms, and you get an international hotel operator to run this hotel with an agreement for every member to be able to get money, maybe monthly or annually or biannually. And with that, you can put a 5-star hotel, you can put a factory, you can put whatever kind of projects you can be able to put to mobilize resources in a sustainable way. Now, before I conclude, I wanted to show you something a little bit as like an advert. We started a school in Entebbe called Jawada Design Institute. You can be able to note it down. We train design for anyone, even if you're not a designer, you're able to learn design. So I thought those who are interested to come and learn how to do designs, that website down there is for you, jdi.ac.ug. You can check that. And besides that, design will also talk about entrepreneurship. We'll also talk about what we call design thinking. It is something which will blow up your mind. And our students who are coming out of there, they are not going to look for jobs. They're going to look to set up their own companies. And also, a lot of my mind, I've put it in this book called An Entrepreneur's Mind. The reviews about this book is amazing. So many people have started their own companies with this book. And we are only charging 50,000. There's that number down there, 0782 933 854, 0782 933 854. You can use that number to call to order this book in case you want to start your own company, or you're fearing to start a company, or you start a company and you want to expand it, or you can order the book through my personal website, www.joelaita.com. Now, to complete this presentation, because I have 5 more minutes, and I'm going to take you through a very simple story. And so as an entrepreneur, I will end these remarks here with any enduring lesson from Business Strategies. Sanders J. He's the CEO and founder of Pranary, which is a practical school for entrepreneurs. And he's also director of entrepreneurship development at Afrika Trust Group. His lesson is encapsulated in a short story titled, "Are You Guarding a Concrete Slab?" The story goes, there was an army barracks that had on its duty roster 4 soldiers to guard it at all times, a concrete slab in front of the barracks. The soldiers changed shifts, guarding the slab for many years. Different commanders came and went, and the tradition continued. After many years, a new commander was assigned to the barracks. Amongst the things he did was asking why things were done the way they were. When he asked why soldiers were guarding the slab, he was told, "We've always done it this way. It is our tradition. Our former commanders instructed us to do that." The commander was adamant to find out why. So he went to the archives to look for answers. And he came across a document that had the explanation. And the document was very odd. It had instructions written by one of the retired commanders who had even passed away. The new commander learned that over 80 years ago, the barracks wanted to build a platform where their events could be performed. When the concrete slab was laid, wild animals walked over it at night before the slab would dry. The soldiers would fix it the next morning, but when evening came, the same thing will happen. So the commander ordered that 4 soldiers should guard the concrete slab for 3 weeks to allow it to dry. The following week, the commander was transferred to another post, and a new commander was brought in. The new commander found a routine and enforced it, and every commander that followed him did the same. 80 years later, the barracks continued guarding a concrete slab. We've always done it this way. It is our tradition. Inspire synergy. Are we guarding a concrete slab? Are we doing it our way and it has not worked? For over 500 years, Africa is doing it their way and the way is not working. Can we be able to change from guarding a concrete slab for 80 years and say, okay, we can be able to do this project using the stone soup model? Can we do that? I think I want to stop here. Thank you so much.
The world is sinking, but Africa is rising. It's time for Africa to turn the tide of political conflict, economic uncertainty, and moral decadence. The time is now for Africa to arise and rebuild. Inspire E-Conference 2023 will give you the tools and strategies to be part of Africa's rebuild. Join us online this August from Monday the 7th to Saturday the 12th from 7 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. East African Time as we gather the brightest minds across the continent to discuss the rebuilding of Africa. Book your slot today and be part of the movement that will change Africa forever. Africa, arise and build.